All right, good morning, guys. It is a very late post today. It's 8:47 here locally, so it's much later than I normally post. I'm almost like 2 hours behind schedule, probably more than 2 hours behind schedule. Just kind of a busy week. I'm gonna get into. I'm actually gonna flip my camera for 2 seconds just so you guys can see this view. So this is why living in Salt Lake is nice. It would be even cooler if these buildings weren't here. I'm not actually at work. I'm going from one office to the other. So today is kind of one of those days where I'm jumping around, which is honestly most days, but I'm just pulled into a parking lot and just that view is just gorgeous. So yeah, let's get started. So interesting day. So today is Thursday, January 5th, 2023. And there's a lot of interesting news in the market. I still am sticking by my guns that the recession is not coming. I think the economy is way too strong. So we got some amazing numbers today. So the U.S. added 250,000 jobs in December alone, up from November. And everyone's freaking out because that probably means that the rate's going to be hiking interest rates. The Fed's going to be hiking interest rates. What's interesting is that we're going to get more refined numbers tomorrow, but already some of the details are actually pretty fascinating. The largest gains are in hospitality and recreation. So that was 125,000 jobs just for hospitality and leisure. So people are traveling, people are spending money. This is kind of going back to what I was saying yesterday. If people have money, they're spending money. It's not that simple. Like, the economy is not tanking like everyone says they are. Also, oh, by the way, Monster today again. Anecdotal evidence. So my parents go to Vegas often for New Year's. So they were in Vegas on New Year's, and they said they've never seen it so packed. They don't go every year, but they go, like, it's been, I guess, because of COVID, they haven't gone in a few years. But the last time they went was like 2019, and it wasn't anywhere near this packed. So it's just as busy, if not busier, than it's ever been. People are traveling, people are flocking. Like we said yesterday, flights are up, or maybe it was 2 days ago in one of my videos, I said flights are up, people are traveling. So there's that. In addition, holiday sales were up. This specifically, online sales were up 3.5%. That's not a massive number, but that is in the face of people thinking that the numbers were going to go down. So everyone was saying, hey, the numbers are going to be down. The economy is, sales are going to be lagging because of the economy. Sales are up. So people have money, they're spending it. Simultaneously, kind of on the con side, both Amazon is cutting 18,000 jobs, and Bed Bath & Beyond said that it was going to be cutting, jobs as well. Obviously, Bed Bath & Beyond, I don't think is going to be as big of an impact as Amazon. That is interesting that Amazon's cutting so many jobs, but it's not surprising. Don't forget that during COVID, they doubled their capacity. They went from like 800,000 warehouse employees to, I believe, almost 1.5 million. Don't quote me on that number, but they almost doubled their warehouse capacities. So a cut of 18,000 still is actually well above COVID numbers. I just think it's a slight drawback, partly because people are spending money differently. They are going out when you couldn't go out. Obviously, you're going to do more online sales, but also people are spending it on different things like leisure and recreation. For example, even personally, this year, I tried to get people more trips because, for holiday gifts, even if it's like, a gift card to Hilton or something like that, or just a trip to, like a B&B here locally, it just seems like a more, thoughtful gift. Everybody has everything already, and they don't really necessarily need the stuff you're getting, whereas a trip is something they probably wouldn't buy on their own. I remember this was actually last year, but one of my friends got my brother and my sister-in-law a trip to like the aquarium. So it was just like, here's an event. It was like a gift certificate for tickets to the aquarium. So it's those little things that I think is changing a lot of the retail sales, but people are definitely spending money. Interesting thing on the crypto side, I'm not a crypto guy. I'm not a huge fan of crypto. I honestly think it's a bunch of garbage. Everybody's going to come at me for that, but I don't see any value in crypto. That's not to say I don't see value in blockchain. I think blockchain is an interesting technology. Of all the cryptos, I think Ethereum is the only one that's worthwhile. I don't really see the value in Bitcoin, but having said that, my little rant, Silvergate, which is just another market for crypto, NFTs, and all that stuff, kind of like FTX and Coinbase. They had a 40% drop in the month of December, mostly because of withdrawals. That's not surprising. I honestly do think that's not a crypto issue. That's an FTX issue, right? I mean, it definitely impacted the market, but that's just interesting. That is going to affect the crypto market. That's pretty much it as far as the news headlines go. Nothing too crazy going on, but I think a lot of interesting data. Tomorrow, when the better job numbers are released, or I should say more refined job numbers are released, you're going to be seeing probably the Fed reacting here at the end of the month with more rate hikes. I would not be surprised. I mean, we still don't have inflation numbers month to month, year to year, but if those are even remotely similar to what I think we had in November, given the growth in jobs, I think we're looking at 75 basis points. So they're probably going to be raising interest rates again, which is interesting. It's definitely going to be interesting. Then personally, just discussing kind of business. Again, I'm going to keep this video kind of shorter, but kind of elaborating on the delegation front from yesterday. So you should always be careful with how you delegate. Every time I listen to a lot of YouTubers, I hear a lot of stuff of, oh, delegate, and be as less busy as you can. I think theoretically that's an interesting concept, but I think that really neglects the job hiring front. I think it's very important to have a proper hiring policy before you start delegating, and I've never heard any of them talk about that. So delegating and training, recruiting and training is probably the pathway to delegation. Before you start delegating, before you start handing off tasks to other people, you have to make sure you're handing it off to the right people and that those people are in the proper positions. I can't stress that enough. That seems pretty simple, that seems intuitive, but it's something that nobody talks about. So when you're hiring, you really have to be specific in the job requirements. Oftentimes we hire for, let's say, a managerial position, right? That's a pretty general idea. And we might ask questions about, oh, are you organized? Are you this? Or are you that? But I would be incredibly technical in describing the roles, the day-to-day activities, and being very persistent in asking them follow-up questions. So for example, here's a good example of like a managerial position. So for one of our managerial positions, this is the B2B company, keeping track of due dates, keeping track of being on schedule because it's a manufacturer, and making sure that we're on task. So during an interview process, it's not enough to ask, hey, are you an organized person? Could you stay on task? It would be, how are you going to stay on task? How are you going to stay on schedule in the manufacturing process? If you've got questions and phone calls and invoicing and reports to do, what methods have you used in the past to stay on task and to stay on schedule? And what would you implement here? Is it software? Is it hardware? Is it sticky notes? Is it phone reminders? Whatever it is, really getting specific with those questions of how are you going to stay on task? Because it's very easy to ask a question, are you organized? Do you stay on task well? There's not a single person on earth that's gonna say no to that question. They're gonna say, yeah, I'm very organized, I'm very on task. Very few people are. So you have to get very specific. You have to grill them a little bit. The interview process, remember, is a little bit of an interrogation. There is a power dynamic in there. It's not a conversation. And I know this has kind of also changed because of COVID and the job market. I think a lot of employers are very happy just to be able to get anybody into the job. But remember, proper hiring is going to be how you're going to implement vision, how you're going to operate, and if so wishing to delegate off as much as possible, how you're going to do it. So you really have to grill them. If the position remains vacant, then so be it. If you desperately need the position, I would look at outsourcing first. That's often something that we neglect, is can you outsource this specific task to another company or to maybe a subcontractor, someone like a consultant, before you bring them in, and before you do a hire. because that's definitely going to be easier than hiring the wrong person, getting them in there, having them screw things up, trying to correct them. Maybe they'll learn, maybe they won't, and then you have the firing process and you have to start all over. So really do check outsource possibilities. There's a lot of companies out there that can do a lot of things, from being virtual assistants to accountants to everything else. Really use that outsource and the private markets before you hire the wrong person and you delegate tasks off to them. That's pretty much it. I got to get back to work. Thank you guys for listening. I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully earlier. Thanks. Bye-bye.